Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. Today I am sharing the planting procedure of elephant yam. Elephant yam is a tuber that is used a lot in Asian and African cooking. Here we have some seed yams that we purchased from the agricultural society when we visited my parents in our hometown. So, just like seed potatoes, seed yams do give a better harvest and it can be grown easily. So, when we are cutting this, make sure to cut having at least one eye on each piece of the tuber. So here you can see we have this big elephant yam and it has more than 3 to 4 eyes on them. The eye is the important part from where the plant grows and that should not be cut off. So we are cutting this, and unfortunately when we cut this open we saw that some part of the tuber was damaged. So we have to remove all the damaged or the rotten parts of the tuber, making sure we don't discard the eye or cut off the eye from the tuber before planting it. Elephant yam is used a lot in traditional Kerala style cooking, and there are a lot of these plants growing in my father's garden, and we haven't tried this before. So, this time we decided to give this a try and got these seeds from the agricultural society when we visited our hometown. So, following some of the guidelines and steps that were suggested by the gardener in my father's garden, there are a few things that we need to do before planting these yams in the ground. So, as you can see here, we got two big elephant yams to be planted, and according to what was told to us, we had to cut them into three or four equal parts, each one of them having an eye on them. But we had a few rotten parts of the yam and we had to remove those. Here we have one of the yam that has been cut into pieces after removing all the rotten part of the tuber, and this is another one. So this also we will be cutting it into two or three equal parts, each having an eye on it. When cutting the yam, make sure not to damage or cut off the eye, because that is the most important part and that is from where the new sprouts germinate. So, if the eye is cut off, there will be no growth on the yams. Once they are cut into pieces, they need to be dipped in a cow dung slurry for 2 or 3 days. And here we have prepared a slurry with some cow dung and water, and all these pieces of yam are being dipped in this cow dung slurry. Along with the yams, we also dipped some of the turmeric pieces that we purchased from our hometown in this cow dung slurry before planting them. So these have also been planted in our garden and now they are looking really good. They are growing well. And once they are taken out of the cow dung slurry, if the slurry is too thin or watery, we need to apply a thick paste of this cow dung slurry onto the pieces, coat them well with the slurry, and then they need to be dried in the sun for at least 3 to 4 days. So, in our case, since we were doing this for the first time, we had a little bit of confusion and we were not sure how thick the slurry should be. But later on, when I checked with my father, he told me that a thick paste of the slurry should be applied onto the cut pieces of the yam, the exposed parts that doesn't have the skin, and then we need to place them in the sun to dry for at least 3 to 4 days before it is planted in the ground. So now these are placed in the sun for them to dry, and once there is a thick coat of cow dung and it has dried up completely, then it is time for them to be planted. So just like you can see here, dig a deep pit in the ground. If you're planting them in the ground, dig them deep, at least 2 to 3 feet in depth and width, so that there will be enough space for the yam to grow well. So there is another prepared spot that I will share more details about. So once this pit is dug, what we need to do is sprinkle some lime powder into that pit and let it rest for a day or two before planting the yams. So, sprinkling the lime is to prevent any sort of pests or ants from attacking the yams and damaging them. After a couple of days, we have placed this yam into the ground and we are going to cover this up. And the reason for dipping them in the cow dung is also so that there is no rotting on the yams when it is planted in the ground, and also an initial sort of fertilizer so that it will grow and sprout well. So, usually yams germinate in about 30 to 45 days, but ours took a little bit longer and we got a good sprout on some of the yams that we were planted. So, this is one at the beginning stage, and here we have another two yams that are growing in the ground. So, they take approximately 6 to 8 months before they are ready for harvest. The leaves turn yellowish and they die down completely before it is ready for harvest. So, we will share another update once these yams are ready for harvest. So, I hope you enjoyed the different gardening related videos that we share on our channel. Please do subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, and would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching Fresh from My Garden.